No one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities. And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences.
That was music to the ears of investors in weed. Look at the jump yesterday, and even with today's loss of about 10%, the ETF is still up 26% on the week. You know, marijuana companies all got high yesterday during this hour after President Biden pardoned more than 6,500 individuals convicted of federal marijuana possession charges. His administration is also going to review how weed is classified under federal drug laws. The business angle here is really important. Because marijuana is still illegal at the federal level, major stock exchanges like the New York Stock Exchange won't list U.S. companies that are involved in what's called plant touching operations. Well, back in 2014, ScottsMiracle-Gro entered the cannabis industry in its own way by creating a major player in the pot growing space with its subsidiary Hawthorne Gardening. Hawthorne has 45 brands under its umbrella that manufacture hydroponic lighting technologies predominantly used in the cannabis industry. What does this mean for the lawn and garden giant? Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive, ScottsMiracle-Gro Chairman and CEO Jim Hagedorn. Jim, what was your first thought when the news of the blanket pardons broke yesterday?
Well, it was more than the blanket. I wanted to hug Biden, and I'm, that's hard for me. I generally don't vote that way. But I think this is a really important first step. For the president, who has, I think, generationally been kind of against sort of legalization and normalization of the laws, he's not been very active in this progress. The House and the Senate have been working hard, and so for the president to get involved, it's only pardoning 6,500 people, so it's not a huge number of people, but it is a big first step, getting at scheduling, encouraging the states to do the same thing forward is really an important first step. And, the safe banking is, hopefully we get it out of the Senate this session.
Yeah, a lot of these companies cannot bank here in the United States. So some of these stocks that we're putting up on the screen, Tilray, all of the other names here, they're based elsewhere, and that does make it difficult. But, talk about why you're such a believer in the hydroponic space here and why you don't have the concerns that maybe some other Americans do about legalizing marijuana across the board.
Well, we do care about legalizing, and so it is legal where in states that about 75% of Americans live. I think it's about 70% of all Americans think it should be legalized, and that's a really important thing. It's about 425,000 people employed in the marijuana space. The legal market is about 25 billion. And the black market, which is people who are operating outside of the law today, it's about 58 billion. So it's about the size of the beer industry. And so
huge. There
have not been a lot of courage for people to enter the space. We're doing it legally. We don't have the issues that our customers do.
Right.
So because we're touching equipment, we're not touching the plant. And if from their point of view, there's no access to credit. The tax policies are terrible under the code, part of the code called 280E. So there's a lot of work that still has to be done. But the president getting behind this and encouraging DOJ to work toward descheduling and having a process toward that is really positive.
Let's talk about the reclassifying, if you will, of marijuana. Right now, marijuana is a Schedule I drug. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, that puts it in the same group as heroin, ecstasy, peyote. And so it's looped in with these other very serious drugs. And, it even has a higher abuse classification than fentanyl. Jim, is that really, something that needs to be changed? What would you say to President Biden if you had his ear on that?
I think you just said it. It's obvious. It doesn't deserve to be there. And in many states, let's start with where it's medically prescribed by a doctor, as opposed to opiates and other medications for PTSD. You can see that there's obvious medical application. And, I would argue, just having known plenty of people with alcohol problems, I think everybody in this country has family members that have had alcohol problems, or look at the death rate from tobacco. So that, should it be a Schedule 1 narcotic, which means there's no medical use for this product? That it's nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like to look at your 5-year chart, because if you look at the 5-year chart, you see that a major build in your stock coincided with you deciding that you were going to make a big investment in the hydroponic industry. And of course, hydroponics include everything from the fertilizer to the growing systems, the cultivation technology, soil, lighting, etc. What initially, back in 2013, 2014, said to you, a guy who's in lawn care, I got to really invest in this part of the business?
Liz, I started going out to Western retail markets and looking at what retailers were carrying on the shelves. And back in those days, they wouldn't say it was for marijuana growing. They would say it's for growing tomatoes. That was kind of code.
Right.
And when you start to see lawn and garden departments in independent retail, like garden centers, where they have more hydroponic fertilizers and growing media than they have consumer lawn and garden products, more than they have Miracle-Gro, I came back and I was asked by the Journal, do you think it's a part of lawn and garden? And I said, well, we grow plants there, of course. But what happened back, this was about 10 years ago, my board asked me, have we ever told you no to anything? And I said, I don't think so. They said, this is the one.
Wow. And
it took going back and looking at the lawn and garden market transform in the West, where it was legal, that ultimately we got the board thinking we could do this safely. We got our banks comfortable with it. And we started making investments in some really interesting businesses where the owners knew they couldn't get the business to maturity because they didn't have the capital. A lot of this was older, like 70s year family, and they couldn't come up with the money for the kids to buy it for mom and dad as they wanted to retire. And we thought this was a great opportunity to consolidate a really interesting space that had a growth rate and still does, that's multiples of what our lawn and garden business does.
Well, one of the headlines here is that it is as big as the beer industry, as you say. Jim, please come back again, especially if this gets reclassified. We're following the story very closely, and you're very much in the middle of it, at least owning the technology space there. Thank you.
Liz, thanks very much.
Anytime. Jim Hagedorn of ScottsMiracle-Gro.